Hi, this is George of Fun with Flies. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a resin video. So what I've got here is I've got Mr. Wobbly. He's one of my bass frogs. So I got him already. He's not finished, but I could still have to add the legs and stuff like that, but I'm to the resin point. So what it is he's done in a soft, it's a porous foam. So if I was to put him in the water right now, it'll absorb the water and eventually it'll fall apart. You can go a little inexpensive way and you can coat them with just a Sally Hansen, and that'll work for a little while too. But what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to use the resin. So I've got a thick, a flow, and a thin, and you can see the thin, I have the adapter on it, and this is Loon outdoors, and I do like it. And of course I have a UV light for drying it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you where I use the resin and how I use it. So I want to start with the leg. So what I've done is I've put the leg on. If you were to do super glue on these rubber legs, it discolors it and it weakens it. So what I do is I just take a little bit of this on the adapter. You can actually see it come right through. This is a really nice way to put these on here. I'm just going to go around it, hit it with the light. It only takes a couple seconds. And it's already sealed in. So I'm going to do the same for the other side. Around the legs. Doesn't discolor the silicone. It seals it in. I'll hold it here for a couple seconds. Okay, now these legs aren't going anywhere and they're ready for the next part. So the next thing I want to look at is right here is my eyes are a little big on here. So it's a pretty big gap on here. So that's kind of a thick gap, but for this stuff, it's no big deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the thick. Now what you want to make sure you do is take all of it off. I mean, this is really puts a lot of stuff on here. So you want to wipe as much as you can off. So when I mean thick, this is really thick. So, and what I'm doing is I'm painting around the eyes where I want to fill it in. So this is like a thick filler. You use this a lot on streamers when you're actually building the head, and you want to make something like which I'll go over that when we do streamers. But for right now, for this guy, so I'm just laying it nice and thick. And take your time because once this dries, it's permanent. So it's not coming apart. And it's like usually I learn all that the hard way. So what I've done, again, I was keeping it clean. All right, so I filled in the gaps with this. So I'm going to, this may take a couple extra seconds because it's pretty heavy in there. If I was outside right now in the sun, this would already be all set. So, but I want to give it a little bit extra time just to ensure that it sets in there. And touch it and it's set. Okay, so we got the first. Now, what I like to do for the whole body now is I'm going to use the thin. So let's take him down just in a little bit. A little side note too, if you're doing a weed guard, it works really nice to hold this in place, which I'll put a little bit on there. I mean, the flow, this is flow, it goes on, this really goes on nice. Same thing as before. Let me get a lot of it off. especially if you're just using a little bit, take your time, get as much of it off of as you can. And I'm going to paint, making sure I get everywhere. Thick. Now the pack with the 3, the light and everything retails for about $75. You can get the light for about 30 and each one, for 10, 15 bucks. Recommend if you're doing a lot of with the fly fishing, if you're doing a lot of just you want to attach wings and legs, yeah, just get the thin and the light to start with. Now, if you plan on doing a lot of poppers, bigger lures, working a lot with styrofoam, then I'd recommend you just get the whole set if you can, if it's in your price range. But it comes in, it really, I really like using this stuff. And okay, so I've got a nice shell on there, and that's all it takes to dry it. It still looks wet, but it's not. She's tacky on, or she's not tacky. If you notice, nothing on there. It's okay. So now, what I like to do for the last step, again, because I don't have sunlight, but I'll even do this when I get the sunlight, is I take the Sally Hansen's and put it over the top. This is going to keep it from getting cloudy and add a little more durability to it. What I want to make sure I do is I don't get the rubber legs. And this one's going to take a little bit longer to dry, but I'll just set this aside and just leave it for a while. But it gives it a really nice finish. I go over the eyes, everything. But if you are interested in this pattern, probably in the next couple of weeks I'll have it back up. Just keep checking back, and just keep checking back, and I'll add this one in. The only thing is with doing these and working with molding the foam and everything, they take longer, and you really have to be patient. This guy right here takes about 2 or 3 days to dry just in the styrofoam. And then of course he gets 2 coats of green paint, markers. So it takes a little while. So I don't really rush with these. I work on these a little bit at a time. So that's it. Okay, so we've gone over them with the Loon Outdoors. Okay, when I dry that with the light, I'd use a Sally Hansen. Again, if you can take it outside, you take it out in the sunlight, prop it up on something, leave it out there for a little while, bring it back in, coat it with that, and when this is dry, you'll have a shell on there that's nice. It floats nice. And this is, by the way, this is Mr. Wonky. And I want to thank you for joining. Hope to see you on the next video.